morning, everybody. We're coming to you live from here today and here tomorrow with breaking news about hearing impairment. First off, let's talk about the different types of hearing loss.
Well, we've got conductive hearing loss. What is this, you might ask? Well, it's a reduction in the ability of sound to be transmitted to the middle ear.
But what does it do?
Well, Lindsay, it's a wax buildup, of course, or stiffening of the tiny ossicles in the middle ear.
Okay, that makes sense, Alana. But who is most affected by this?
Well, it's most common in aging adults because their wax glands are decreasing in number, and the wax becomes more dry and easily impacted.
That is very, very interesting. Well, that rings a bell. That's the type of hearing loss that is caused by infectious or a middle ear mass.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Do you know any other types of hearing loss?
In fact, yes, I do. There is sensorineural hearing loss, which is due to damage of any part of the inner ear or the neural pathway to the brain. It can be caused by medications, chemotherapy, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, diuretics, and anti-malarial drugs.
Oh yeah, that's the type of hearing loss from being exposed to loud noise over a period of time. Got any more for me?
In fact, I do. I can't believe I almost forgot this one. Presbycuspus. It's the most common cause of hearing loss. An inability to distinguish high-frequency tones makes comprehending speech difficult. So people who have this are unable to understand many consonants, such as like T, P, or S, which are high-frequency sounds, while vowels are low-frequency sounds.
Oh, breaking news! We're just getting word on information. Let's shoot over to Bree, who's on scene at the hearing clinic.
Oh, good morning, everybody. Here we are at the hearing clinic. As you can see, there's no one's here in the waiting room. They must have perfect hearing. But actually, did you know that there's an estimated 28 million people who are deaf and hard of hearing? Within this population, hearing impairment varies from those who lost their hearing before they learned to speak, bracket, prelingually deafened, to those who lost their hearing after they learned to speak, bracket, postlingually deafened. Back to you, Lindsay and Alana.
Welcome back. Ready, Alana? Okay, so we know that lip reading is a form of communication that the hearing impaired use, but only about 30 to 45% of the English language is understandable through lip reading. The ability to lip read can be difficult when there is poor lighting, distance between the speakers, difficulty seeing the speaker's face, or limited familiarity with the speaker's speech pattern. It can be problematic, especially if the patient wants precise information. Bree and Shauna, are you able to give us an example of this?
Yep, we're connected. Okay, yeah, sure, I'd love to give an example of this, but first I just want to say a few things, okay? A good way to do this is just by looking at yourself in the mirror. But yeah, you just want to just talk in the mirror and try and recognize the way your mouth moves to different syllables. Okay, you can do this by turning the TV on, not to the full limits, but just mute it, and try and see what they're saying. You want to try it out?
Sure, let's do this.
Okay, so I'm going to tell the audience, viewers, all my fans. I'll just tell them like what I'm going to say. Okay, but don't look.
Okay.
Okay, round one. Here we go. Ready?
I think so. Let's try it. I love you.
No. Okay, one more time.
I love you.
I'm flattered.
Oh.
But I actually am saying elephant shoe. You see, like, that's how things get misinterpreted because I'm saying one thing, she thinks I'm saying the other, and miscommunication.
That's a very good point. Also, it's really important to maintain eye contact throughout interaction with the patient so they know when comments are being directed toward him or her. You should also have your face and hands kept clear of any obstructions, such as masks or clipboards, so that the patient can interpret what you are saying. Periodically, you should also make sure that you and the patient understand each other.
I understand.
Okay. Ask patients how the best way to communicate with them is, such as lip reading, writing notes on paper or the computer, relay services, use graphics, pictures, and hand gestures to enrich a patient's understanding.
Sorry, daydreaming. Thanks, Shauna. Sounds like it's time to head back to the studio.
Back to you guys.
Welcome back to Here Today and Here Tomorrow. Now, let's talk about what not to do. Make sure the nurse refrains from shouting and over-enunciating, causing unwanted attention, making the patient feel uncomfortable. Instead, always remember to speak normally and at a clear and low tone, and face-to-face. Don't shout from another room.
Alana! Fascinating, Alana. Fantastic, Alana. I feel like I know so much more about communicating with someone who has a hearing impairment. Did you know? Hearing impairment can be categorized as mild, moderate, or severe. And this determines what type of therapy you would use. Now you know. It's time for a hearing report. How are you doing, Shauna?
Is the camera even? Oh, okay. We're doing good, thanks, guys. I have Brian here to help me talk about how hearing aids work.
Yes, that's right. Hearing impairment patients may use a hearing aid to enhance their ability to detect and understand auditory stimuli. A hearing aid is an external electronic battery-operated device that amplifies and changes sound, sending it to the ear through a speaker. So how do you use a hearing aid?
Well, in a lot of cases, hearing aids have 3 switches on them: on, off, and phone. When using a hearing aid, you first want to make sure that the batteries are working by turning it on and listening for a high-pitched sound. If no, make sure to change those batteries. Make sure to fasten the hearing aid securely behind your ear or in your ear, because if there is any air getting through, the hearing aid will whistle. Make sure to clean the hearing aids after removing them from the ear. Get all that wax off. Also, take out the batteries when not in use. Store in an appropriate container.
In severe hearing impairment cases, a cochlear implant is a small electronic device that is surgically implanted under the ear behind the skin to compensate for damaged or non-working parts of the inner ear that normally convert sound waves into the electrical impulses that the brain recognizes as sound, and the person is able to hear clearly.
Hello again. Thanks, Shauna and Brian. That was a great learning opportunity. Here's a little tip, Alana. Always say the person's name before communicating. That way you're able to grab their attention and not have to repeat yourself as often.
I'll show you a sneaky trick. An easy way to communicate is as easy as writing down what you want to say. Make sure it's clear, concise, and the font is big so that the patient is not struggling to read it.
Hello.
Hey everyone, yeah, I got a fun fact for you. The leading cause of hearing loss is physiological changes related to aging. Yeah, and the number of incidents of hearing loss is poised to climb dramatically as our population ages. The number of older adults aged 65 and older in Canada is projected to be 4.1 million, or 23.4% by 2016. And, yeah, I just wanted to give you those fun facts. We're gonna head back to the studio, me and Shauna, because this weather's just terrible right now.
Hi, Brian.
Oh, sorry, it's Brianna actually, but people make that mistake all the time.
All right.
Sorry, it was a little windy out there. How you doing?
Good.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sorry. Wow, this is a nice studio.
I know.
Feels nice to be in here, eh?
We should get promoted.
I know. Except we're on the low end of the scale.
True
yeah,
that.
so hands are great. We can use them for so many different things, like sign language. Sign language is a way of communication using manual gestures and body language, and is not only used by people who are deaf, but by people who can't speak.
That's right. This type of communication can be limited, as most people do not know how to speak using American Sign Language, or ASL, unless they know somebody who personally has a hearing impairment. It can be quite an effective type of communication and give the person with the hearing impairment a sense of independence.
Sorry, it's a little noisy in the studio right now. But yeah, in a healthcare setting, the nurse can be prepared with a chart of common American Sign Language pictographs and the weather alphabet. The weather. Sorry, I'm just not with it right now. The finger alphabet, and it listed yes and no questions, which may clarify communication. Hey, Lindsay, why don't you show us how to spell your name using the ASL alphabet?
It looks like they were getting a little too comfortable in our studio.
Just a tad, hey? Well, it was a great idea, Brianne. I'll show you how to do my name in ASL. L, I, N, D, S, A, and Y. Let's take a look at the alphabet for the ASL. It does provide great pictures, and it did just help me write my name out.
That was great, Lindsay. Wouldn't it take forever to spell out everything you wanted to say, though?
It sure would. Sign language doesn't just use letters, but has many, many signs to carry out everyday normal conversations. As in, how are you? Great job. And what's up? Or whatever those kids say nowadays.
Let's take a commercial break.
And we're back in the studio. Brianne, we're live.
Oh, sorry, guys.
It's actually Brian.
Well then, that has been a very educating lesson on hearing impairment. I feel like I have a better understanding of the challenges those with hearing impairment have to go through. But it's nice to know that there are many ways to help them live a happy and normal life. This will definitely help me to communicate better and be more conscious of their needs.
This has been another night of Here Today and Here Tomorrow. We will catch up with you tomorrow night for a special edition of Will This Ever End? An intriguing story of a group of nursing students just trying to survive.
I'm looking forward to it. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Checking the weather.
The camera's still on.
Oh,
The camera's still